Hi everyone, welcome to another Procreate tutorial. This is the drawing that we will be completing in today's video. If you are new here, I mainly post Procreate tutorials, so if that is something you are interested in, go ahead and subscribe. Otherwise, before we get started, the only thing that you will need to do is download the color palette. I have it linked in the description below. It's totally free to download. Just open up the file that downloads and it'll automatically pop into Procreate with all the same colors so that you can use them as you follow along with the video today. So take a second to go and grab that and then come back and we will get started. First things first, we will go over our canvas dimensions. They are 10 inches by 10 inches at 300 dpi. The color profile that I am using is the second one on the RGB list. And for our layers today, by the end of the video, we only have about 20 layers, but we need about 25 to 30 to play with. We'll end up syncing some layers together at some point. So make sure you have at least that many available by checking here. If you do not, you can always lower your DPI a little bit here to get some more layers. And this is our color palette for our kitty in the window. Lots of really fun colors that we'll be using. So this would be a very fun one for you to use your own colors if you would like. I love the colors that I used, but if you have any other ideas for colors for your wall, window, cat, any of that, feel free to mess around and try some different things. We are just going to go ahead and jump right into it. So the first thing that we'll do is set our background color. I am going to open my layer menu, click on this background color layer, and then click the first color on the color palette. And now we are going to be on layer 1, and the first thing that we are going to do is add our bricks to our background. So we are going to grab the second color on the top row of our color palette, click on the selection tool, set it to rectangle, and turn on color fill. And I am just going to start anywhere on the screen really, and I am just going to draw a very skinny and long rectangle shape horizontally like this, and then let it go so that it fills in. I'm going to click the selection tool just to deselect it, but essentially we want all of our bricks to be the exact same shape and size for our drawing. So I am going to go to my layer menu and make a duplicate of this layer by sliding left and clicking duplicate. Click the arrow tool and I am just going to move it around, maybe down and over here. Make another duplicate and just kind of keep laying them out. No perfect placement or anything. I will have some maybe go off the screen. However, if you do one that goes off the screen like this, on your layer menu, you'll see that it's a lot shorter. It cuts it off when it's off the screen. So now your shape is completely cut off and it's a different shape. So we want to find one of our original rectangles that is all the way on the screen and make a duplicate of that one instead, so that again, we have the same size rectangle. So keep that in mind. Just kind of doing some in like little sections. Maybe we'll do like a section here of a few of them. And this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying that we will need a lot of layers just to work with. At the end of this, we will sync all these layers together so they're all on one layer. But for now, it's really taking up a lot of our layers, but this is just kind of the way that we have to do it. So obviously our window will go like in the middle here and cover some of this up, but we still want to lay them out anyways. So that's about what I'm going to go with. I like the way that looks. So I'm going to go to my layer menu, and as wide as my fingers will go really, I'll just start dragging all these together until I have all of them on one layer right above our background layer. Then I'll add another new layer on top of this and we will go ahead and get started on our window. So I'm going to grab the third color on the top row, And I am going to grab the monoline brush under the calligraphy tab to start laying out our shapes. So first I am going to draw a perfect circle in the top little section of our screen here. So a circular shape, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it a perfect circle, maybe about this big. We are going to click our arrow tool. Make sure that snapping is turned on in the bottom left here. And I'm going to snap it to the center of the screen where I see this yellow vertical line. So not all the way in the center, we do want it to be more towards the top, about right there. Click on your layer menu, make a duplicate of this circle layer. With one of them selected, click the arrow tool, make sure it's set to uniform, and we are going to downsize this a little bit, and then we're going to center it inside of our other circle. So we'll see the yellow vertical line, or you'll see two blue cross lines when it's in the middle of this other circle. But essentially we want to see two lines there, and you'll kind of notice that it snaps to the middle there. Resize and recenter your circle until you get a nice ring. This is going to be the thickness of our window. So kind of get it to a nice thickness that you like. I'm going to go maybe about with that. Then we'll go to our layer menu. Drag both of these layers together onto the same layer. Make sure you don't end up merging them with your brick layer. If you do, undo it and redo it just with these two on the same layer. And then we're going to fill in the middle of that circle like this. After that, we are going to, on this circle layer still, we are going to grab our selection tool again. Set it to rectangle, but turn color fill off if it is on. And we are going to essentially highlight the bottom half of our circle with this. So I'm going to start outside on the left here, about halfway through my circle. Start there, and I'm just going to draw down and to the right to cover the rest of our circle like this. Click the arrow tool, and then I'm going to drag this bottom part off the screen. Click the arrow tool again, and now it's gone. You'll see now on our layer menu, all we have is a little half circle here. That is exactly what we were going for. So this is going to be the top arch of our window, and now we'll make the sides. So we'll add a new layer on our layer menu. I am going to grab my selection tool again, rectangle still, and turn color fill back on, same white color that we were using before. And I am essentially going to start on the right side here, where this straight line is from the bottom of our circle. And I'm going to start on the corner, and I'm going to draw a rectangular shape about like this, going about this long, leaving a good amount of room on the bottom of our canvas here, and then let it go to fill it in. Most likely your rectangle will not be perfect. If you got it perfect, good for you. But mine is not. I don't want this little edge here or here. I want it to completely touch both sides of my circle and look very seamless. So with my rectangle layer still selected, I will click the arrow tool, switch it to freeform, and then I'm going to use the left and right sides here to drag it and connect it with the sides of my original circle shape. So then I'll deselect it, and I can see it's still not perfect, so I'm going to move it again. It tries to snap right there with my snapping turned on, and that helps it look pretty perfect. So if you have snapping turned on, you can try using that to snap it to the edge, and if it works, great. Otherwise, take your time and just keep making adjustments as you need to. Then, since this one is already perfect size and it should match to this side as well, we will just go to our layer menu and make a duplicate of this rectangle layer. Click the arrow tool, and then we will also turn on magnetics along with snapping, and then we are going to drag it over until it kind of snaps to the left side there. So the magnetics help it stay in line with this one so it's not further up or down. And then the snapping helps it snap to the side of our other shape there. So now you should have a nice, perfect, seamless shape. Go ahead and make any adjustments if you need to. And then I'm just going to add another new layer. And then I'm just going to go to my layer menu again and snap these ones all together. So now you'll have a nice archway shape with our two sides on it as well. While we're on this layer, same color, we are going to grab our rectangle tool again, rectangle color fill turned on, and this time I am just going to draw a rectangle across the bottom to connect this together to make the bottom of our window. Do not worry if it is not perfectly lined up on the bottom here. Mine magically is like really perfect. But if you have a little bit of a gap here, that's okay. We are going to cover it with our next layer. But we do want a little bit of a lip on the bottom of our window here, like so, to really complete our shape. So next, let's go ahead and add the little panes to our window in between it. We are going to have one going across the top horizontally, another one in the middle, and then a vertical one just on the top of our window. So we'll do this all on this same layer still. So again, grab our selection tool with rectangle and color fill turned on with our white color still. And the first thing I will do is make the one across the top here. So right about where the curved part meets our straight side part. So I will draw a nice medium-ish one right all the way across from side to side. And then I'll move down a little and draw another one a little bit skinnier maybe. And then I will add a new layer on top of this one to draw our vertical one because I do want to snap it to the middle of the screen. So I'll grab my selection tool first with rectangle and color fill on and make a nice little skinny bar that'll go in the middle here, but it might not be perfect. It's probably pretty close, but go ahead and click the arrow tool, click it again to grab our little shape here, and then just drag it until you see the yellow vertical line. That means it's perfectly in the screen and should be perfectly in line with our other shape since that one is also perfectly in the middle of the screen. So now we can go to our layer menu and snap those together so that that's all one layer. So we have our entire little window shape, including our panes, all on the same layer here. So next we will go ahead and do some more stuff with our window. First of all, let's go ahead and fill in the back color of it. We'll add a new layer in our layer menu, drag it below our window layer. And we are going to grab the first color on the second row. I am just going to use my monoline brush and just draw around the window right behind it, kind of connect it wherever you started, and then fill that in. So now you have that little background to our window. After that, we are going to make some more little adjustments to kind of really bring the window to life. I am going to go to my window layer here, the white layer, slide to the left and make a duplicate of it. Click on the bottom one, click on this layer, turn on alpha lock, grab the fourth color on the top row, go back to my layer menu again, and this one that I just turned alpha lock on, I will click on it and click fill layer. So now you'll see it turned a grayish color. You can see it on the layer menu, you can't see it on the screen because the white one's in front of it. But let's go ahead and click our arrow tool now. And I am going to set it to freeform. And then I am going to drag the bottom circle upwards and then drag the right circle inwards. And now you'll see it kind of gives the illusion of the inside little spaces of our window. We'll do a very similar thing to create a shadow. So we'll make a duplicate of this layer we just used, select the bottom one, click on this N and drag it up to multiply. And then we'll click the arrow tool and I'm just going to move it to the right a little bit. So now you should be able to see a shadow. I'm also going to move it down just a little bit so that we can see a shadow underneath some of the panes that we have. I might make some adjustments by moving this left one to this left bar to the right a little bit to kind of give it a little bit more of a shadow here. And then again, make sure that I can see some shadow underneath our panes here as well. So adjust it as necessary. You could even move the entire thing down if you need to, or to the right if you need to. If for some reason any of your shadow ends up outside of the window, go ahead and either use your eraser to erase it or use the selection tool with color fill turned off to select those chunks and drag them off the screen. So we don't want anything outside the window if yours ended up there. Okay, so that really helped kind of bring our window to life a little bit more. So we will go ahead and move on. So next we will draw the windowsill in front of it. So let's add a new layer above all of our layers and go to our fourth color on the top row if we're not on that already, which we might be from our previous step. Grab the selection tool again, rectangle, turn on color fill, and now on the bottom of the window, this is where if you do have a weird space here from when we drew the original rectangle to connect the bottom, we will cover that up. So a little bit up from the bottom of our window and a little bit out to the left is where I will start my rectangle drawing, and I will draw it all the way across and down a little bit about like this, about this size, and then let it go to fill it in. Click the arrow tool, and again we want to make sure that it's perfectly in the center where you see the yellow vertical line. Then we'll add another new layer and switch back to our white color, the third one on the top row. Same thing, rectangle, selection tool, rectangle and color fill turned on. And again, outside of this gray one now a little bit and to the left, I will draw another rectangle. It's okay if you slice off the bottom of our gray one, that's kind of what we're going for. Make it a little bit longer this time, so about this size. And then again, we'll click the arrow tool to make sure it's in the center until we see our yellow line. Now that I am here, this is all a little bit too big. I need a little bit more room on the sides and below it. So I'm going to grab all of my window layers, starting with this dark blue layer, all the ones in between, including my little ledge layers. Click the arrow tool, click uniform, and I'm just going to downsize it a little bit and then recenter it where I see my yellow vertical line pop up. That should be a good amount of space all the way around, about right there. So next we will do the shutters. So let's go ahead and add a new layer on top of all of our layers here. Grab the second color on the second row, and again, our rectangle tool, selection, rectangle, color fill turned on, our favorite thing to do. And we will make the shutter starting in the middle of this like white side space here, right in the middle, about where this top bar is here, where the circle meets the rectangles that we drew. We'll start about right there and then make the rectangle about like this, ending at about the bottom of the opening of our window and then going out to the side a little bit like this, and then let it go. Go ahead and resize it if you need to. Otherwise, if you are okay with it, we are just going to go ahead and start adding the little shutter slots inside the window. So again, add a new layer. We are going to switch to our third color on the second row. We are going to zoom in a little bit. We are going to click our selection tool again. Just a lot of rectangles. So rectangle, color fill turned on, and we are going to start from the top left, go down and in just a little bit, and then we'll start there and we'll make a very, very skinny little rectangle here, like this. About this size. We want to leave enough room so we can have two columns of these with some space in between. So about that size is good. If you need to make any adjustments, go ahead and do so. I'm going to make mine just a little bit wider top to bottom. Go to our layer menu. On this little brown rectangle we just made, click on it, turn on alpha lock. And then we are going to grab the fourth color on the second row, a rectangle tool again, color fill turned on, and we are going to just start on the outside left bottom of our rectangle, and I'm just going to draw. And we just want to select and fill in just the tiniest little slice on the bottom of this shutter, about right there. Then we will switch back to our third color on the second row, and we are going to use our monoline brush this time. So now we're going to zoom in even further. On the left side here, I am going to just make, starting in the corner, I'm just going to make a little line, hold it down, click edit shape when it turns to a straight line, and then I'm going to just drag it over. So we just want it to meet the corner here, right in the corner, and then cut it off a little bit to create an angle here to give the illusion that this is the inside of a shutter space. And then we are just going to make copies of this and lay them out the rest of the way. So let's go to our layer menu, make a duplicate of this layer, click the arrow tool with snapping and magnetics turned on. I'm going to drag this to the right. until it's about the same distance from the side as this one was. And again, we want some room in the middle here, so if you need to adjust the size of your original rectangle, you can, until you get them to be about like this. Go to our layer menu, and I'm going to snap these two together, because now they are just perfectly in line, perfectly spaced out, and we want all the other ones to be the same. So we'll make a duplicate of this layer with two of them on now. Click the arrow tool, drag that down, keeping them in line until you have a good amount of space in between them, maybe about like that. Again, we can go to our layer menu and we can snap these together again, just to kind of make all of our copying easy so we don't have to do as many. Make another duplicate and drag them, and now we have 4 that we're working with. Again, just try to space them out about to where they were before. Make a duplicate again, and do the same thing. And I don't know that we could fit another 4, so I'm just going to leave it with this many. I'm just going to go to my layer menu, drag these 3 groups together now so they're all on one layer. And then I'm just going to use my arrow tool, and I'm just going to move them down and kind of center them just a little bit more on my shutter, about like that. So there's just a little more room at the top and the bottom, which looks good. So I'm going to go to my layer menu with this layer selected. I'm going to slide right on my original yellow rectangle layer and then click group. And then I'm going to make a duplicate of this group. So slide left on the group part, click duplicate. And now we have another shutter. And I am going to click the arrow tool, and then with snapping and magnetics turned on, drag this across and line it up about in the same spot as this one. So with the same little bit of white showing on the window pane here, so they look identical on each side. Okay, so next we are going to draw our cat. So let's go ahead and grab the first color on the 3rd row of our color palette, and then we are going to add the cat in a very specific spot on our layer menu. So it is going to be above our little gray rectangle here, but below our white one, our white big one here. So find those 2 layers and add a layer in between them. You'll know when we get started if it's in the right spot. So we are going to use our monoline brush again on about 60%. And the first thing that we are going to do is draw its head. It's just going to be a perfect circle. So draw a circular shape, hold it down, and touch your finger to the screen. Maybe about this big. Go ahead and click edit shape, and then you can adjust it, move it around a little, resize it if necessary. But I just kind of wanted this like lower left part here. Again, part of it being below this white rectangle. So this is where I said you'll see if it's in the right spot. So you should be able to see all of it except for this bottom little section. Maybe about right there, and then I'm going to fill it in. And then on the same layer, we are going to draw its body with our monoline brush again, same color. So I'm going to start here on the right side of this circle about halfway down, and I'm just going to draw it's going to arch up on its back and then make a little round shape for its butt. So I'm going to do this all just in one motion. Do it a few times if necessary to get like the right shape. So just drawing kind of quick is helpful. Maybe about something like that looks good. And then I'll just kind of draw across the bottom here to connect it and fill it in. Make sure it's all the way filled in to the very edge here. So that is its body. So next we're going to add its arm and its tail. And we are going to draw its arm and tail on a new layer above our white rectangle this time. So add a new layer above that one. Same color, and we are going to again grab our rectangle tool with color fill turned on. And this is going to be for the arm. We're going to make it just a little bit into its body. So like this is where its neck kind of is, maybe a little bit further in than that. And pretty close to the top of our shape to cover that entire area, because we'll make a shadow later that will go under the arm. So we do want to draw it close to the top of our shape. So start there and then start drawing downward about like this, leaving a little bit of room at the end of white space. Next, on the same layer, we are going to now use our monoline brush and draw the paw. It's just going to be an oval shape at the bottom of this rectangle here. So draw a slight oval shape, hold it down, until it turns into a perfect little shape there, and then go ahead and click edit. And we just want it to touch, the side of the rectangle, and then just be kind of at a little angle like this, going kind of down and to the right a little bit. And then go ahead and fill that in, either with a color drop or just with your pen. And then on the same layer, we'll draw the tail. So first I'm going to start here and make a curved line going about to this point of the wall right here. Let that go. And then starting that same point, I'm going to curve back around into a almost circle shape. Like that. Again, hold it down until it snaps and let that go. And then I'm just going to kind of follow it back. Do the same thing again, hold that one down first, and then we'll make another one back. Edit them as you need to. Another curved line, but make sure it connects nicely, and then fill that in as well. So that will be our tail. And now we will go ahead and add the shadows for these since we're already on this layer. So what we're going to do is go to our layer menu, make a duplicate of this layer that has our paw and tail on it. And then the lower one, we will click on it, turn on alpha lock, grab the 5th color on the top row, go back to our layer menu again, and this lower one with alpha lock turned on, click on it and click fill layer. And then click the arrow tool and move it down and to the right to create a little shadow there. As you can see, part of it is sticking up onto our cat, and we don't want that. So we are going to click on our layer menu. This shadow layer should be right above our white rectangle layer. Click on it and turn on clipping mask, and that way it clips just to our white layer here, so it doesn't go over our cat's body or anywhere else, just on our little ledge here. Let's go ahead and move right along. We'll add the ears for our cat. So let's go to our layer menu, add a new layer, drag it below our cat body layer, above our little gray rectangle and everything else. So right there, we are going to grab the 2nd color on the last row, and we are going to zoom in here. And we are going to use our selection tool again, but this time we'll do something a little bit different. So click the selection tool, set it to freehand with color fill turned on. So we want our cat's ear to be off the side of his head here. So we are going to start a little ways down from the middle of the head, the top of the head, a little ways down inside the cat's head. Make a dot. Go up and to the right of it, make another dot. This will be the point of the ear. And then go down and to the left a little bit to make the next point. And then go back to our original point to close this shape. So that is our cat's ear shape. I'm going to click my arrow tool and just make it a little bit bigger. It's a little too small. So get that to where you like it, and then we are going to go to our layer menu, make a duplicate of this layer so that our ears are identical. The new one, click on the arrow tool, click flip horizontal, and then with snapping and magnetics turned on, drag it across until it's on the other side of the cat's head. So as you can see, my cat's ear is under my shutter here, and I definitely don't want that. I don't want to move my shutters though, and I don't want to mess up where all my layers are. So I am going to just resize my whole cat. So first things first, I'm going to go to my layer menu and drag these 2 ear layers together. So those are there. I'm going to slide right on my cat body layer and then slide right on my paw shadow and my paw layer. Click the arrow tool, set it to uniform, and I'm just going to downsize my cat. All in total, just a little bit till he's about right there. So make adjustments if you need to as we go. But next I'm going to add the face. So let's add a new layer on top of our cat body layer. We will grab the 3rd color on the last row. We will use our monoline brush again this time. And we are going to use Symmetry to make our face. So click on the gear icon, turn on the drawing guide under the canvas section, click edit drawing guide, click Symmetry, and make sure it's set to vertical symmetry. You should see a vertical line. If not, you can select vertical under the options. And while we are here, we are going to move our line by using this blue bar. We're going to move it to the left till it's right about in the middle of our cat's face. And then click done. So let's go to our layer menu, make sure this layer now says assisted on it. And then with our paint color and our monoline brush at 25%, I'm going to first draw the nose. So the nose is going to start just a little bit above the bottom of where our head starts. And we are going to start in the very middle on our line, draw up and to the right, hold that down until it turns into a perfectly straight line. Very, very small. And then draw a line back, hold it down until it turns perfectly straight as well. And then fill that in, so now we just have a little triangle for our nose. Next, grab the fourth color on the last row for our eyeballs, and we will just start up and to the right of our nose here. And I will draw a circle, hold it down, touch my finger to the screen to make it a perfect circle. Pretty small, maybe about like that. And then fill them in if necessary. So that's our face. Now we will draw the whiskers. So let's add a new layer. Let's drag it right just above our ear layer, below our body layer though. Maybe drop our size of our monoline brush further to like 15%. And I am just going to draw on the left side here a set of whiskers. So draw a line, hold it down. It's kind of slanted up and to the left a little bit. Start a little bit lower, draw another line. Maybe we'll make this one out further. And then one more line a little shorter. So those are our whiskers. And now we will add a shadow to our cat's body. So let's go back to our cat's body layer. Click on it, turn on alpha lock. And we are going to grab the second color on the last row that we used for our ears. And with our monoline brush at about 15%, I am going to start making the shadow. So first I'm going to start a little ways in from the very right side of our butt, a little ways in here, and I'm going to draw a curved line, hold it down, and then let it go, and this will kind of mimic like a leg here, and then I will draw another line from here and go in towards the body of the cat and the arm. And again, like I was saying before, we will have it go underneath the arm a little bit here to kind of create that shadow. But since our arm layer is above this and it covers that whole area, the shadow just slides right under it. You can go ahead and try to fill this in. It gets kind of challenging with alpha lock and stuff, so it's probably better to just use your pen to fill this part in here all the way. And then we will make another little shadow here. So we'll start at the bottom of our nose and draw a line going out and to the right, hold that down. Start at the bottom of our nose, draw to the left going down, hold that down, and then fill that in just for a little shadow on the bottom of its face as well. So that completes our cat. Okay, and then lastly, we're going to add some more shadows all the way around our window to kind of complete the picture. So we are going to add a new layer above our brick layer to do this. So find the brick layer, add a new layer above it, click on the N on this layer and drag it up to multiply. And then we are going to find the fifth color on the top row of our color palette. And we are going to mostly use our rectangle shape, and then we'll do some erasing to kind of finish it off. So I am going to grab the selection tool, set it to rectangle with color fill turned on. So we're going to draw the shadow for our shutter. So on the top left corner, go down just a little bit and then start drawing there. Draw a rectangle that goes out further on the bottom and right of our shutter, like this. Let it go. Okay, so to the right of our white rectangle, big rectangle here, to the right of it a little bit, and then up into our rectangle that we drew before, start somewhere about there, draw again, and then draw all the way over until we hit the right side of our white rectangle here. And then, make sure the rectangle is also quite a bit lower than it to create a shadow underneath it, like that. And then we are going to grab our eraser tool really quick, and we are going to erase this little section here that popped up. We don't want that. And then we'll grab our selection tool again, rectangle and color fill turned on still. And we will draw another one on this side for our shutter like we did before. So start down a little bit from the top right on this side here and draw out and to the left until you create a nice shadow on the left and below it. and then let that go. And then now we are going to use our eraser tool. I just have it set to like the monoline brush, and I have it all the way up. And then I'm just going to start creating some angles. So the first one, I guess since we did this one, I will just draw a straight line going here all the way in, and then click edit shape, and then I just want it to line up on this corner here. So create a nice little sharp edge there. The shadow can meet the white window here at more of an angle. Then go ahead and erase whatever is left. And then similarly, we'll have a small angle at the top here. So erase a straight line there, hold it down, and then erase whatever else is left. Go to the right side and do the same thing. So we'll erase an angle at the top here. Erase whatever is left. And then we'll use our eraser also on the bottom edge here. So draw a line starting at the edge of the white rectangle and going this way, hold it down, and then erase the rest. And that is it. The only other thing you might want to do is on this shadow layer that we just created, click on the M and drag the opacity down to maybe like 80% just to make the shadow a little bit lighter, or you can leave it where it was at, whichever you prefer. And then lastly, very lastly, if you want to make any changes to your brick, you can do so. After we got everything done now, I covered up quite a bit of my bricks, and maybe you did too. Maybe you want to see some more of them. So since our original brick layer is gone, as in the original like one brick shape that we were copying, you can go back to your brick layer on the layer menu. You can use the selection tool on freehand with color fill turned off, and then select one of your bricks that's fully showing. Click the arrow tool, and then you can either move that brick. So let's say you want to like move one of these bricks out further, or you can slide down with 3 fingers on the screen and click cut and paste. That will put this one brick on a new layer of its own. And then from there, you can make duplicates again and move them around however you see fit. Maybe just add a few more around to kind of fill out the picture a little bit better if you feel like it needs it. I'll probably stick with something about like that. So that being said, that is the end of our drawing today. So I hope you had fun. If you did, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more tutorials from me in the future. If you would like to share your drawing on Instagram, please do so. I would love to see it. So go ahead and post it and then tag me so that I can check it out. While you're there, go ahead and give me a follow so that you can see what I'm working on next. Thanks for watching.